All right, guys. So I'm just going to go over the main game plan for the elimination diet today. And next week, I'm going to start going through some of my presentation on empowering children's development, which is really something that you can use for your kiddos, but it's also something you can use for yourself. Because really, as a doctor of Chinese medicine and as a mom to a very rare and complicated genetic disorder, I have had to learn a lot of different ways in order to optimize me and Remy's health affordably at home, and I've learned a lot of tips and tricks along the way that I think can help empower you to really take control of your health and feel more comfortable troubleshooting with whatever's going on with your kiddos. So, with that, let's start with the elimination diet. Where did it go? Here we go. Let's do this. And share. Haha. Okay, let's go back up to the top. I started doing this, and then the mold guy came to take some samples because it turns out that my house is filled with mold. So this is actually a perfect time for me and Remy to optimize our digestion, clear out pathogens like parasites, and then focus on our detoxification pathways as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this group at school, and that's what we will be doing in my household as well. So, elimination diets. If you guys have not checked out elimination diets or checked out the episode of the podcast with Dr. Kristen, please check out that episode. Dr. Kristen does such a beautiful job of laying out how essential elimination diets are and how they help our patients. But I'm going to give you guys an overview of what I'm going to be doing, what you might want to do, and give you some options about that, as well as show you a couple of my favorite recipes at the end. So first things first, elimination diets. Why are they important? So the gut is in charge of our health in pretty much every way. So ancient traditions always say that the gut is the foundation of both health and disease. So it's really important that we optimize our gut. So not only do we need to optimize the foods that we're putting into our gut, but we need to make sure that we are actually processing and absorbing those foods appropriately. So something that you might have heard of before is leaky gut syndrome. And that happens when there's a disturbance or some sort of inflammation in the gut that causes these little micro holes within the GI system that then food that are within the gut are getting out of the gut. And then that sets your immune system off, and the immune system starts attacking those food particles, which makes sense because they're not supposed to be there. But that often will cause systemic inflammation. It can cause more inflammatory reactions to those foods. So if you have leaky gut, which most of us do, then it's really important to make sure that you eliminate the foods that are causing systemic inflammation so that you're able to rebuild that gut lining, clear up any leaky gut, and then you can consider reintroducing foods, but that's for a later topic. But for now, we really want to make sure that we find out what's at the root heart of any sort of inflammation in our gut, because that is going to impact how our brain is functioning, how our immune system's functioning, our energy, and really every single aspect of our life and our health. There's nothing more important, and I mean this so seriously. There's nothing more important than getting your gut health on point. It'll change your life. And truly, this is where I start with all of my patients, no matter how complex they may be. So whether it's Remy with every disability possible, or whether it's me, who luckily is pretty healthy, these are the things that really start building health. And so especially also when I have patients who have big symptoms or don't have an actual diagnosis, but there's some sort of inflammatory process going on, whether it's PCOS or, gut issues, but also, autoimmune disorders. This is a really, really powerful tool that's super dynamic, and it's going to help affect you no matter what is going on. So that is why I love the elimination diet. It's also very cheap. It's also something you can do at home, and it's something that's very, very palpable. So you will feel a difference when you reintroduce these foods if you have any sort of reaction to it. I always tell the story of when I was nursing Remy, he had really bad reflux, and so I cut out dairy I had already cut out years before, and I didn't really eat any soy, but I cut out dairy and I think eggs, and then I brought dairy back, which all I ate was like cheese and yogurt. But I brought dairy back, and I was like, oh, I absolutely can't eat dairy, and it's still hard. Now I can eat raw goat's milk cheese, and that's awesome. I'll take it. And there are a lot of good coconut-based yogurts that are good. Even some of the dairy-free cheeses are fine. They're fine. Um, but I also know that if I eat dairy, it is enough of a serious reaction that it is not worth doing. So that's what I find a lot of the times. It might not be all of the things, hopefully, but there might be one thing that, once you bring it back, you realize that it's really been impacting your health that dramatically. You just had gotten so used to it that your body was compensating and covering up that inflammation. So it's a little bit scary when you think about it, but it's also pretty fucking cool. Our bodies are amazing. So this guide is really cute. I wrote it all out, and then I have a new assistant who whipped it up into this awesome design, so I'm loving it. And this is all available in Skool. If you want to go and check it out, you should have access to that. If you don't, just let me know. So first you want to prepare for success, like mentally set the tone. Think about why you're doing this and what you're hoping to gain from it. I know we're all under so much stress and so overwhelmed. So asking you to do this, I know, is not a small ask. It's really difficult to change your diet for a couple of weeks, but it's really an investment in yourself. So I really want you to sit down and think about that. Think about why you're doing it and what's important to you in terms of your health and why your health is so important to you. Then I want you to track your baseline. So the main things I want you to look at are, how often are you having a bowel movement? Is that soft? Is it loose? Is it watery? Is it hard to pass? Do you have gas and bloating? Do you have gas and bloating after you eat? How's your energy? Are you fatigued? And how's your brain function going? Do you have brain fog throughout the day? I know I do, but I'm thinking that might have more to do with the mold we just found in my house than anything else. But we'll see. So the main foods that I love to have people eliminate are on here. So gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, and corn are the biggest allergens. And a lot of people push back about eggs, but eggs are a common allergen. I'm not saying that they're not a healthy food, but they can often cause a reaction in a lot of people. That might be because a lot of egg proteins are used in vaccines. And so, as you can imagine, egg proteins are not expected to be injected into your arm. I don't know if they actually use egg proteins in the vaccines anymore, but they certainly did when we were kids. So for me, I already do not eat gluten, dairy, or soy, but eggs and corn are things that I eat pretty much daily. I'm a taco hound, and I have like a piece of gluten-free bread with a fried egg for breakfast, like pretty much every day. So those are the big ones I'm focusing on for this elimination diet. I'm also going to cut out extra sugar, which I don't eat a ton of anyway, but there is a really good gluten-free, dairy-free bakery here in Boulder called Lucky's. So every now and then I get sucked in there. Processed foods, that is my big talking point when it comes to diet. I often tell my patients I do not give a shit what diet you're on. You could be on keto, you could be a vegan, you could be whatever. Doesn't matter. Just do not eat processed foods. Really, you're looking to get whole foods or minimally processed foods. So those processed foods are not something that your body really understands, nor can they process. So even if you're cutting out these other things, if you're then replacing them with hyper processed foods, then this is not worth your time. So alcohol, cut that out for the month. Caffeine, as I say in the thing, I'm not going to cut out caffeine personally. I did that when I was pregnant, and it was really hard for me, which means I should probably do it, but not this time. And then nightshades are something that a lot of people cut out. So for me, again, it's more important that you pick the things that make sense to you. So you don't have to cut out all of these things for the next month. If that feels way too overwhelming, pick 2 or 3 of these things and cut those out for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And, then you can do it again with a couple of the other ones later in the year. I don't want you to feel super overwhelmed by this. I want this to be exciting. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I want it to be something that feels manageable and isn't just adding to your stress tremendously. So again, focus on whole foods, good fats. I'm obsessed with ghee, coconut oil. You do not want to be heating any of those seed oils. You don't want to be eating seed oils really, but like even if you have olive oil or avocado oil, those can be really healthy, but you do not want to heat those. That denatures the oil and that causes inflammation. So again, take a journal about how you're feeling. And then as we go through the month, I want you to continue in that journal. You don't have to do it every day, but just make a note every couple of days of how you're feeling, how your digestion is going, how your sleep is. And, you don't have to think too much into it. Just start seeing if there are any patterns that are emerging. And then after 3 or 4 weeks, then you're going to start reintroducing one food at a time. So Dr. Kristen always recommends that we do not reintroduce gluten until the end because most people have some level of gluten allergy, especially the way that it's processed here in the States. So hold off on that one till the end if that's one of the ones that you're eliminating, which I highly recommend that it is one of the ones that you're eliminating. And then just start introducing. And I normally have people wait 3 or 4 days, more like 4 or 5 days before you reintroduce the next one. So for me, I'll probably add corn back in first, let's say, and then 5 days later, I'll add the eggs back in, and then, keep doing that with the other ones that I'm cutting out. Normally if you're gonna have a response, you're gonna see the response pretty quickly, and it's often pretty palpable. But it might also just be you feel more fatigued and your brain feels more fatigued and things that you're doing feel more difficult than they did when you weren't eating it. So after that, you're really just going to sort of look at your diet and see what works for you. To me, what's always really amazing about doing the elimination diet is, as I was saying with dairy, like I love cheese, but I also know that it's going to wreck my day and my night if I eat it these days. So it feels really good to me, and it's actually really easy to just keep it cut out of my life. And yes, of course, I would love a slice of pizza every now and then, like real gluten cheese, real cheese pizza. But I always find some sort of substitution that makes me really happy anyway. And I'm quite the foodie. So some of the foods that I love in terms of healing the gut are kimchi, sauerkraut, bone broth. These are all phenomenal to start incorporating into your diet. I'm also a huge fan of bean minerals. I know I have a coupon code. I think it's RADROOT. It is an affiliate code, so disclaimer with that. But I really only use Wizard Sciences supplements, Radical Roots supplements, Noxie now, my women's line, and B minerals. So those are the ones that I use every single day. I have True Kava. I use a couple of supplements here and there, but those are the ones that I use every day. Those are non-negotiables for me. So yeah, so I think if we all get through this 1 month, I think it's a huge accomplishment. I think you're going to be feeling so much better, and you're going to have a much better connection to your body and to how you're feeling day by day. And then after that, we can work on a parasite cleanse. Oh, you're going to love it. It's my actual least favorite thing to do in the world. So hopefully you guys will join me for that one. Here's a little encouragement on that page. And then, as I said, I'm quite a foodie. I love food so much that my ex-husband became a chef. And he's actually a phenomenal chef. Pain in my ass, phenomenal chef. But so arroz con pollo is one of my go-tos, and there's a lot of ways to make this, so you can totally make it your own. In there, I added a couple of variations, like adding in, instead of all of that rice, you could add in some of the rice cauliflower and do that as like 50-50, so that you're getting even more veg in that. Obviously, add some black beans. So that's a wonderful recipe that I really enjoy and make all of the time. This barbacoa recipe is like one that takes literally 3 seconds. You throw it in your slow cooker and just let it go. And you can make that and use that various ways. I often make it into tacos. but now I'll be doing that with lettuce wraps. Um, I'm sort of obsessed with like the broccoli slaw at Whole Foods. It's just really easy to throw in, especially to like tacos and whatnot. But yeah, so they're just a handful of my favorite recipes. Chicken cacciatore is bomb. Um, that I thought you guys might enjoy exploring so that you had a couple of ideas um, that were, gluten, dairy, egg, soy, la free. This one was one of the ones that I used to get in Ecuador all the time when I used to take running down there to the neurologist. And cocado de pescado, so fucking good. You'll probably notice that I am a fan of food from South and Central America. But this is like a coconut fish stew, and it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Um, Chia seed pudding, that's probably something I'll be eating a lot for breakfast. Again, this is something you can sort of make your own in whatever way makes most sense for you. It's Colorado here, and fall in Colorado here, so there's so many peaches. So I've been making peach berry pie on the regs, and it's really delicious. So yeah, so let's see. Stop sharing. Okay, so that is that for today. I am really excited about doing this. I hope you are too. Please feel free to add any questions that you have to the chat and let me know how it goes. And I'm going to set up another Zoom for next Tuesday. And I might just start going through some of the course that I have on empowering children's development so that I can get practice doing that and I answer any questions that you guys have. So holler. Have a great day, guys.